Why would someone buy a Rolex or an Omega watch which just shows the time over an Apple Watch? I think that's the kind of analogy between iPhone Air and the 17 or 17 Pro. I switched from a Pro phone with a triple camera setup, huge battery, to a super thin, single camera, single speaker iPhone Air. Why would I do that? Why not the iPhone 17 or the 17 Pro? And how am I liking this change so far? My reasoning and my first impression of the super slim iPhone Air in this video. So let's get started. Let me talk about my initial thoughts about the iPhone Air and then about why I switched. First impressions? My God, this is slim. Like unimaginably thin. I've had the iPhone 10 before and even the iPhone 6, but the Air hits hard. It is true when everyone said that you need to hold the device in real to feel the difference. It's not just the thinness, it's also how lightweight it is. I came from the 16 Pro Max and the difference is night and day. Because of the lightweight, thin design, the phone is much more comfortable to hold, to carry, to use, and to even put it in my pocket. I do doom scroll social media, and on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, my little finger and hands would get uncomfortable or even painful after prolonged use. With the iPhone Air, I don't even feel the weight of it. Holding is super comfortable, and this is super important for me. For the first time in many years, I feel like I'm using a newer design phone. I got this iPhone Air in light blue, which I may as well call white, but I'm genuinely excited to carry this phone, which I haven't had this excitement since iPhone 12. Okay, let's talk about the build. Despite being super thin, the phone feels super sturdy. I used to have the iPhone 16 Pro Max in a case all the time, but I have not had a case on this one since I got it. One, I do like how this feels in my hand, but second, I get the feeling that it's much more durable. The buttons on these have also become thin, which is slightly less tactile, and I preferred the ones on the 16 Pro Max. I guess that's the trade-off I cannot work around. This year, this is the only model which has a titanium frame, while the 17 and 17 Pro has an aluminum frame. I tried the 17 Pro at an Apple store and the aluminum feels a bit cheap to see and hold. The titanium shiny frame feels so much more premium and luxurious, and I like it. One other thing I noticed with the iPhone 17 Pro models on display at the Apple store were all of the Pro phones scratched from their wireless charging stands. Look at these photos. Each one is a different phone. Only the white showed less scratches. Apple did give an explanation that it's because of all the raised wireless charging stands and it would go away when cleaned, but I did try to wipe it off and they felt like a permanent scratch. Anyway, one more reason to not go with the Pro phones this year. Another super nice thing about the iPhone Air, its display size. It's 6.5 inches. It's right there in between the smaller 6.3 inch and the larger 6.9 inch. Not too big and not too small. Perfect to hold, carry, and use. One unnoticeable difference for me is the display quality. This is the same high refresh rate display as the 16 Pro Max, but it has slightly higher peak outdoor brightness. Also, Apple says the front display is a second-gen, better scratch-resistant ceramic shield. For the first time, the back glass is also a ceramic shield glass, which wasn't the case with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But to be honest, none of these are immediately noticeable for me. Glad that it's more scratch-resistant in long run. Everything I spoke about so far is something everyone loved about the iPhone Air. Let's talk about a few things why people hate the Air or prefer the iPhone 17 or the Pro phones. First, camera. It has only one camera on its back. No ultra-wide and no telephoto. And even that one camera has a smaller sensor compared to the 17 Pro or 16 Pro. It's the same size as the regular 17 though. In my quick testing, there is not much real-world difference in the main camera photo quality between the 16 Pro Max and the Air. Lack of ultra-wide and telephoto? Yes, that hurts. This is a subjective area, If you rely a lot on the telephoto, then your choice is easy to skip the air. But for me, personally, looking back at my photo gallery, I almost never take an ultra-wide photo. And I use a telephoto only when I had to take a portrait shot. I guess now I'll have to rely on the 2x digital telephoto, but I'm willing to make the trade-off. The selfie camera, on the other hand, not what I expected. It's a big upgrade for sure. It's not just higher resolution than before, the photos also look nicer. Better contrast, nicer, and more accurate colors. It's so good. It's 18 megapixels versus 12 before. And it's also wider. It can take landscape selfies without having to rotate the phone, which I never knew I wanted. But I cannot go back to the old selfie camera now. There's one more trade-off, which is the lack of ProRes log and raw capture on the air. Personally, I've had good use of ProRes log, but I won't miss it given the form factor. It can be recorded only on an external storage, which complicates the setup, in which case I'll just use my camera. Baseline being, not just for me, but for anyone, ProRes log and RAW should not be a deal breaker. It's a nice to have feature. The next question feature, speakers. I knew going in, speakers were not going to be as good as the 16 Pro Max or the 17 series because the Air only has a thinner single speaker at the top, while all the other phones have louder stereo speakers at the top and bottom. But it was still a slight letdown even with my low expectations. I usually don't listen to music on loudspeakers, but I do occasionally watch YouTube videos through the speaker. The experience was okay, but could have been better from a $1,000 device. I know it's thin and there is only limited space for speakers, but I do see a significantly degraded audio quality when I'm doing video calls. It's not unusable, but lower your expectations even more. Another area which I went in with very low expectations but turned out to be better was, surprise, the battery department. I even bought a slim power bank given the reviews I saw, but it's holding up pretty good so far. Maybe I was on the iOS 26 public beta on the 16 Pro Max and I'm on the full release on the iPhone Air. But the Air is still giving me almost a full day usage. Again, based on my usage. Your mileage may vary. I still have to juice it up once midday, which I used to do it with the 16 Pro Max as well. The only difference being I need to recharge the Air at around 7 p.m. while I used to recharge the 16 Pro Max at around 9 p.m. But it doesn't make the huge difference I was worrying about before. But battery is something which requires a long-term testing. I will definitely update you on future videos on how this is holding up. Oh, one more thing to note. The charging speed and the USB transfer speeds are slower than the Pro models. But this again is something that hasn't made a real life difference to me. Other things I noticed in my short-term usage is that the performance is very good. No noticeable slowness compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But the phone does get hot. I mean, I say this because all the temperature is felt right at one spot near the camera module. On the other phones, it felt radiating a little more evenly. This makes me think that the Air is getting hotter, but this didn't translate to any performance drop or battery drop in my usage. So, given all this, why did I switch from the Pro phone to a less feature phone? Even less feature than the base iPhone 17. Two reasons. One, the missing features are not a deal breaker for me. It may be a deal breaker for you, but the single camera, slightly lower battery life are acceptable to what I'm getting. Second, I really like how it feels in my hand. It feels super premium. It feels like a new phone. I really wanted a change and I was pretty sure getting iPhone 17 Pro or the Pro Max would have felt the same in my hand. The iPhone Air is the change I really needed. In my personal opinion, if you need a workhouse, get the 17 Pro or even the 17, which is a great phone this year. The iPhone Air, on the other hand, feels less like a phone and more like a finely crafted piece of jewelry, still with all the great essentials. A lot more videos are coming very soon on the camera comparison, intense battery tests, and other quirks of the iPhone Air. So definitely get subscribed to watch them soon. Also, a like to the video would be great. See you in the next one. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.